Matilda of Flanders was the wife of William the Conqueror and Queen Consort of England. She played an instrumental role in the governance of Normandy and the formation of the Anglo-Norman state. Far from being a passive royal consort, Matilda was an active regent, cultural patron, and powerful noblewoman. Matilda was born around 1031 in Flanders, the daughter of Baldwin V, Count of Flanders, and Adela of France, who was the daughter of King Robert II of France. This lineage made her a highly desirable bride, as she combined the blood of the Capetian royal family with one of the most powerful noble houses in Europe. She had two brothers, Baldwin and Robert. Her childhood was shaped by the responsibilities and expectations typical of high-born noble girls in the 11th century. While detailed records of her early years are scarce, it is likely that Matilda received a comprehensive education befitting her status. This education would have included training in religious devotion, managing household affairs, and the social graces necessary for court life, such as etiquette, languages primarily Latin and Old French, and perhaps some literacy. The county of Flanders was strategically crucial at the time. It controlled major trade routes and ports that were central to the economic and political balance in Western Europe. Matilda's marriage, therefore, would have major geopolitical consequences. Matilda's marriage to William, Duke of Normandy, later known as William the Conqueror, was not without controversy. William was born out of wedlock, the son of Duke Robert I of Normandy and his mistress Herleva. Initially, Matilda refused William's proposal. According to legend, William rode to Flanders and confronted Matilda, possibly even assaulted her, after which she reconsidered. The union was initially opposed by Pope Leo IX, likely due to consanguinity, though political motivations may have also played a role. Despite the disapproval, Matilda and William married around 1051. Their marriage was later legitimised by Pope Nicholas II, perhaps in return for the founding of religious institutions. As a form of penance, both William and Matilda founded religious houses, including the Abbey aux Hommes and Abbey aux Dames in Caen. From the beginning, Matilda served not just as a consort, but as a co-ruler and regent. William entrusted her with governing Normandy during his absences, particularly during the Norman conquest of England in 1066 and subsequent campaigns. She presided over court matters, dispensed justice, and managed diplomatic relations with neighbouring states. Her regency was highly effective, and she was respected by the Norman nobility. In 1066, William invaded England and defeated King Harold II at the Battle of Hastings, becoming King of England. Matilda was not present in England during the initial conquest, but was crowned Queen of England at Westminster Abbey in 1068 in a ceremony designed to legitimise Norman rule. Her queenship, while largely focused on Normandy, did have implications in England. She managed properties and revenues, patronised religious houses, and acted as a cultural link between the English and Norman courts. Matilda also played a symbolic role in reinforcing William's authority in England, especially in the early years of his reign, which was marked by revolts and unrest. One of Matilda's most enduring legacies lies in her role as a mother. She bore 10 children, several of whom played major roles in European politics. These children were Robert Curthose, later Duke of Normandy, Richard, William II, later King of England, Henry I, later King of England, Adeliza, Cecilia, Matilda, Constance, Adela, and Agatha. William was never recorded to have been unfaithful to Matilda, and there is no evidence of any children born to William outside of marriage. Matilda arranged marriages for her daughters that strengthened alliances across Europe. For example, her daughter Adela married Stephen, Count of Blois, and became the mother of King Stephen of England. As a mother, Matilda is reported to have been more sympathetic than her husband, particularly towards Robert, their eldest son. William and Robert had a tumultuous relationship. Robert grew resentful of his father, who refused to grant him any authority or power. Tensions came to a head in 1077 when Robert's younger brothers, William and Henry, dumped water on Robert from a balcony. As a consequence of this humiliation and his father's refusal to punish his brothers, Robert demanded more serious responsibilities and attempted to seize the castle of Rouen and fled to Normandy. Backed by the nobles and the King of France, Robert led a rebellion. In 1079, during a clash between Robert and William at the Battle of Gerberoy, Robert wounded his father, forcing William to withdraw. In 1080, through the mediation of Queen Matilda, the two were reconciled, though they never did have a good relationship afterwards. Matilda was a notable patron of religious and cultural institutions. Alongside William, she founded the Abbey aux Danes in Caen, where she was later buried. She also supported other religious institutions and is believed to have commissioned and sponsored works of art, manuscripts, and possibly even elements of the Bayeux tapestry. Her religious patronage served multiple functions. It expressed personal piety, atoned for politically controversial decisions, and reinforced the legitimacy and sanctity of her family's rule. In a time when royal legitimacy was often tied to divine favour, these acts of patronage were politically and spiritually significant. Despite her significant achievements, Matilda operated within the constraints of her time. As a woman, her formal power was often mediated through her husband or sons. Her regencies were possible largely because they were permitted by William, not because she had any independent authority. Her political efforts on behalf of her son Robert ultimately failed to prevent conflict, and she had limited success in shaping the broader trajectory of the Anglo-Norman realm. Moreover, while she was respected and admired, her visibility and direct political power were diminished in England compared to Normandy. Queens were expected to be advisors and supporters, but rarely rulers in their own right, an expectation that Matilda nonetheless often challenged. Matilda died in 1083. Her death deeply affected William, who reportedly grieved profoundly and did not remarry. The couple's long marriage, by standards of the time and political circumstances, was notably stable, and William's grief suggests a deep personal bond. Her tomb was later desecrated during the French Revolution, and while it had been restored, its original state was lost.